Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. I hope you're enjoying this sun here in sunny Florida, Portland. Is that right, Rich?
That's close enough.
Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, hey, welcome again to the board here. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. But the fact of the matter is we got a number of issues. As you know, we're getting right into the swamp again. In all due respect, normally I'd be talking about New York, the presidential race, but that's that part of the country. But what we're interested in is where do we fit in this whole scenario? Well, we've got Oregon. And normally, in most cases, the centerfold is normally the Portland metropolitan area. This is where we are. But what we're going to be talking about today, there's Women Emphasis Day, that we're doing in this country. And right up front, where everybody's participating. And there are women with varying groups all across the board. And we have our very own right here in the Portland metropolitan area. And in some cases, it might be a little spicy or whatever. But the bottom line, it still is about women. And it's basically, I'm sure, and once you meet my guests and whatever, you'll understand where I'm coming from. We're all looking for the same thing. We all want good life. We want everything's just really neat. Us all getting together. This is USA. That's what we're all about. Okay? So, no, I'm just going to go right on. I'm going to introduce Richard right here. Rich is right here. You've seen Rich and I before. He's got his own live showcase show. We do that once a month on Wednesday.
And then shows again today at 11 o'clock.
Oh, really? Today? 11 o'clock today? Sounds great. And actually, I'm on there, too, as his co-host. And then he's on here today. And so I'm going to hopefully have him as a backup to whatever. But let's get now to the show. We got two people who are basically representing Portland's liberation.
Yes.
That's a group.
Yep.
That's a women's group. And they're going to basically, they're going to identify themselves, tell you who they are, and what's their platform, and are things really well, and are men like ourselves, like Richard and I, and all the other men, are we treating you right? And I know you're going to be saying some nice things about us, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But okay. All right. That's fine. I like that. That's good. But anyway, just on the other side of the coin is that we got two folks who are representing that organization, and you've got men in the group too.
Yes.
But we're interviewing you first, right? That's right up to that, right?
I'm sorry, what was that?
We're interviewing you first. Remember that?
Yep.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. We got Haley. I guess she was the founder. You're the founder, right?
Yes.
Haley? Good. I noticed that you were at one event that I think it was at the church up in Northeast Portland there. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. That's why I said, I got to get you on. You were really representing the women. You got right up there and started voicing your opinion. And it was good, to a certain degree. But if you only have 3 minutes to say something, that's kind of hard to communicate, right?
You have to make your voices heard, especially if you live out here in Portland.
There you go.
And if you're a conservative, there's silence.
Yes.
So you have to be louder than you can't just sit around. You have to make your voice heard.
Well, see, that's why I like her. She just jumped right up in there. See, Bruce, step aside for a moment. Let me say my words. Is that right? So, Haley, tell us a little bit about that group. How did it form, and why did you get involved in this situation? What's the deal? Talk to me.
So what happened was, in Portland, me and many others, we're just being silenced. We couldn't just walk around, speak on our beliefs, where we politically stand. And we just formed this group together, Portland's Liberation, to just bring justice back to Portland.
Okay.
So people can be able to express their freedom of speech. And we want to help those who are being silenced as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys heard, but just recently at PSU, the Republicans Party, college Republicans, they were just shut down for bringing another conservative to their event, and then a bunch of Antifa, that's what they're called, terrorist organization, and go and shut them down. They silence them, and then they end their event because of that. They're being told to leave. So I just think it's time that I think it's just time for us to start rising above and getting more people out there, especially Portland residents who are just like us, who want to be able to voice their opinions, and we just want freedom of speech and just to keep living our life in a peaceful way instead of having to get assaulted, talked down to, or getting pushed around just because of who we are and what we believe in.
Well, you know, I'm glad you're making that particular point because that's one of the rationale for us doing what we're doing today. Okay, sometimes because we are America. This is USA. Got me? And you're right. And we've got our Constitution. We've got the amendments and whatever. And and there is a concern about the fact that within that Constitution, it identifies that freedom of speech for everybody. It's all about opinions, and one should be given the opportunity to do that. And for some strange reason, maybe we would think that as we progress, like they're saying, health. You know, you would think that by now in health, we wouldn't worry about taking but maybe one pill, maybe not a pill, if you will, just a small drink. But now you're getting more pills nowadays than ever, you know. We're more sickly, but we're supposed to be more progressive, right? So the bottom line is that we do have rules and regs, and if you will, to make guarantee that Constitution is real, okay? But in all due respect, there's an education lack, if you will. We don't teach in the schools. You know, when I was coming through school, and I'm sure Richard could speak for himself, but we had an education system that we had civics. You got me? We talked about history. We understood what the Revolutionary War was all about, how this country became something. We went through the whole issue with the Civil War aspect of it. You know, the quote, it was about the money. Because, you know, the South was into the money because they had cotton was king, right? You got me? And so there was a little divide in terms of, because it was just the rich cats that were able to make the decisions. All the rest of the folks just had to sit back. So they basically said, okay, fine, we're just going to fight this thing out. And okay, they did that stuff. But my point I'm trying to say is that our history would educate people enough, if you will, to understand. Then it just become part and parcel of our growth. But we're not educating folks along that way. Got me? So I just want to let you know that no, you're just right on in terms of whatever. But people need to know that. Right? So it's like Antifa. Okay, fine. Who are they? You see what I'm saying? But if they've got an opinion, then fine, stress your opinion. But you got to understand that another person has the right to have their opinion. And anybody who's in the audience, if you put together a public meeting, you know, and if you're there, you should be able to raise your hand and say someone need to vary. But for some strange reason, and because you got to understand, this all started in this last presidential election. Because as time started going, as we've been getting progression, I mean, imagine the people in America says, hey, we want you to clean that Congress up. We want you to clean. We want new leadership, etc. And then one guy pops up who's never even, in fact, he never even ran for dog catcher. I mean, you know, he was just up in New York, you got me? But he was following the news and this, that, and the other. He raised his hand up, and at the end of the day, he became president. And then all those folks that were sitting there are still trying to figure out, well, how they get there? How they get there? You see what I'm saying?
And that's like the problem with today, though. They're just so focused on the past, not trying to build a better future and move forward to do something better with their lives. But here they are. They talk down about the president 24/7. You know, and you see a bunch of these speeches from the Democratic Party, but I have not heard one speech where they do not bring up the president. Like,
well, it's a brand now.
Yeah, it's like you have to bring your president up and bash him to make your speech
It's a brand, and then like I said, it's respectful from the standpoint. He is the president of these United States.
Yep.
He got elected fairly, even though, you know, in a baseball game, if the score is 1-0, it's a 1-loss column. It doesn't say you have to have 50 points in order to win, right? Got me? And so that's another thing I can appreciate about you. But the other thing that I was recognizing that was huge is the whole efforts of women's rights, because there was either suffrage, women's suffrage in our history. You got my point? And now they're getting a little bit more progressive and really out there aspect of it. But they celebrate women's right and what's on your mind. And
the women just had their big day here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And she was in it.
Worldwide.
You was involved in that deal.
Yeah.
In that March aspect of it.
Yeah,
spend a little time on that piece.
Yeah, so me and my friend Alyssa, we went down there to the Women's March,
right?
And men came and swarmed us and threatened to, threatened to hurt her.
To beat us. They literally said that. They were also carrying, one of them was carrying a metal baton, another one was carrying bear mace that was exposed, and they were telling us to leave and get out of there or they're going to beat us. One continued to call us fascists and say, follow us around and say that.
Well, what about law enforcement? Did you have security?
I spoke to them. So I personally spoke to them as well, because they kind of saw what was going on,
Right.
and one of the men shook my hand, and they're like, I'm sorry that you have to go through this, because they're trying to keep us safe as well. Like, I think law enforcement did pretty well that day.
They did a good job that day.
A few of them shook our hands, and then just supported what we were doing. And as a woman as well, you're going to a women's march, and that's for you to feel empowered, and like just as a woman, you're independent, and you're going, and I'm going down there to go support them. And then they come, like men come and surround me, and from this organization, Antifa, to the point where they're threatening to hurt us, and one of their own people had to step up. The Rose City Antifa leader, Luis Marquez, had to step up, and his friend, to put us in a better situation, keep us safe from them.
Wow.
I mean, and to me that was kind of mind blowing.
What about the organizers of the march? I mean, I think they were women, right? And organizers?
Yeah.
Who organized the march? Did they?
They blocked me. They banned me, so I couldn't
The
see
organizers?
it. I was banned. I was banned from the Women's March.
Why would
on all social medias. I was banned from the Women's March. I couldn't see any stuff like.
But you're a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a right.
But it's because I am
right-leaning.
Right-leaning. That's why.
Right. Oh, you got Trump.
Yeah, because
you got the brand. I mean, come on, that's really what the deal is. I mean, if you had said something else, it'd be a different ballgame, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But if you mentioned my name, they'd really block you. But anyway, the bottom line was a women's march aspect of it. I'm just saying, the organizers of that deal should have basically taken up for you.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have basically said, "Wait a minute, here's the rules of the game." I mean, did they start off that way? Did they?
The liberals down there, the liberal women that we met who were Democrats, like actual Democrats, they were very nice to us, actually. They knew who we were.
Okay.
A couple of them actually talked to us and said that they didn't like what Antifa were doing either, and they fully supported us walking around and enjoying the march. Even one woman offered to walk us to our car as then Antifa were also getting in her face, attacking her for that, which was really, for even coming near us, and it was really strange. These Antifa's usually far left,
But I guess I'm talking about the organizers of the march. Were they strong enough to make that point about the fact, one, this is who we are, and this is why we're having the march, it's about women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and blah, blah, blah. Did you hear that?
It was not about the women's march. Was not about women's march.
it wasn't at all. No,
it wasn't. It was about gun
Trump.
control,
Okay.
trashing Trump,
Okay.
and just trashing anyone that's like average day right-leaning people, like. And then the color of your skin as well.
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, now tell me this. Like I said, you represent. Hey, you got an organization, Portland's Liberation.
And we accept
for women,
all.
right? For women, right?
For women.
Right. And so the bottom line is that you should have been given an opportunity to speak. Were you on the diocese? Did they maybe talk to you about being on the diocese to talk?
No. They've just said I was banned. Because they had to switch their event, their women's march, and they switched their women's march because of me. Yeah.
Really?
The
Really?
day
From January 19th to the day that we went down there the other day. They did that because of Haley.
Yeah, they changed it because they thought, because of one person, they thought I was going to ruin their women's march because I am a woman.
Right.
And honestly, and it's crazy to me because I feel like they should be looking up to me because here they are, they're slandering me. Then they ban me from a women's march, but here I am going to a women's march to go support the women. Mm-hmm. And then they try to go and attack me, a bunch of men. Honestly, I have to say, we're definitely what independent women look like. Because we don't...
There was no announcement from the standpoint, this is the Democratic Party, and we're going to be supporting this, that, and the other, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to just saying women.
And regardless of sides,
they did say women's march, and that's another reason why we have you on.
Yeah.
Because in all due respect, your opinion should have been respected.
And Portland's Liberation as well, regardless of which side you're on, we want to hear your views. Plus, I love debating. Like, I would love to hear what you believe. Maybe you can, maybe you can give me some advice and I can learn.
From a woman's perspective.
But, no, it's just like, just degrading and trashing your name, and it's like you don't know what they actually stand for.
Okay.
Are you affiliated with a political party then?
Me? Republican Party.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, the thing is that the fact of the matter is, it's supposed to have been women recognition kind of a deal aspect of it.
That's
and
right.
They should clearly
They
should clearly have done that. And in fact, I'm even saying to them, and I'm sharing this with the folks who are the organizers of that organization. I mean, hey, in all due respect, come on board. Maybe you've got a twist of this piece about women and realize everybody has an opinion, right?
Yeah.
But it would be neat to be able to see what their opinions were. Got me?
Yeah, I would love to know.
Yeah, you would like to know? Okay,
Yep.
good. And you would have no problem coming on with them, right?
No, I would not have a problem.
Okay, good. That's good. So there you are. I mean, she, if she's willing to do this, she's here. She has an organization called Portland Liberation. It was about Women's March aspect of it,
Okay.
and everybody was trying to figure out, you know what I mean? And that's why I have you on.
Yeah.
Because I too, I mean, the public wants to know.
Well, even
what
though
was
the
going on.
law enforcement that was down there, when I was talking to them, they're just like, this is not it wasn't a women's march. Like, it was all over the place.
Okay.
And
Well, they should have said it.
Yeah.
You know, if you
And
say it, then you deal with it that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, it was sad.
Because that's what I was doing. Because that's what my wife was telling me. She said, "Well, you got to be quiet today. This is about women today, and listen." Okay.
I'm thinking about having another women's march,
Oh,
though,
yeah.
under me, and we have a real women's march.
Okay.
So I
Oh,
can show them.
okay, cool,
So what a
cool.
real women's march would be.
Cool.
So,
Well, you made mention to when we talked about last week or whatever, and I think I saw you at the church. I saw that
Yes.
on the news aspect of it, and naturally I was curious in terms of why weren't you given the opportunity to speak?
so at this, at the church session,
Another political deal.
they had our names down, but already crossed off.
Yep.
They crossed our names off already.
They crossed your name off.
Yep.
Yes.
And I only found out because
But the mayor was there. Now wait a minute. Now
Yeah.
he runs the deal. Now,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already had our names crossed off.
You're
Yep. And I found out because one of forgot his name. But one of our friends told us, and he was really upset about it. So, and they were going through, and all you were hearing was just like, it was people when they're on the mic, they were just saying that right-leaning people needed to get banned from the streets. That's what they wanted their solution to be. They didn't want us walking the streets.
Absolutely. It was what I've noticed was before the meeting happened, to left-wing people, or seemingly left-wing people, they handed out signs that on one side said
Yeah.
listen, or on the other side said, what was it?
Lies.
That's it. That's what it was. Yeah. So whenever a right-wing person would go up and speak, either in support of us or the Portland PD, they would put up the lie sign and start booing and yelling and trying to get them in an argument while the time was rolling. That way it would distract them from getting their point out. But then once a left-wing person would go up there and speak, or a seemingly left-wing person, I should say, that's when they started basically cheering, or they started to put up their listen sign. Everyone was really quiet and respectful. But then it was a really strange event. Some people were talking about some really strange things.
Yeah, and it was really, everyone was talking on emotion too. There was no solution.
Did you notice any leadership from the standpoint of an entity or a person saying, okay, basically would get up and share it to the entire group? This is why we're having this meeting. This kind of a thing. This is why we're having this meeting. It was all about the whole idea about, I guess, police and joy to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, and I fully
Joy Gibson, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the police should be in contact when we have events down there for
Absolutely.
the safety of both sides, not just because of one, for both. And I fully respect, if an officer is telling one side, and I wish they would understand this. The law enforcement would be speaking to the other side just as much as they would with us to keep both sides safe, but they don't like officers. They don't like the police officers. You've seen many videos, most likely, of them throwing stuff at the police officers, sexually assaulting the Portland police officers, and nothing's ever done. So it's
exposing their butt and rubbing it. I saw that myself.
exposing
at him
their
too, actually.
exposing their these women from the left will expose their private parts and start putting on the police,
Rubbing on the police, yeah.
and
Wow.
they are told to stand down from the mayor, and that is real sexual assault that's real sexual assault that's in Portland right now. Is these women who are on the left who believe that they can do and say whatever they want to these officers because they're doing their job.
It's true, and I saw this myself actually. If you're on the left or on that side and you speak to the police, and that you're exposed or found out about, they ostracize you almost instantly from the community. Pretty much all of them. Even for instance, I've since been ostracized from the LGBT community.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Since for associating with Haley and helping however I can.
And it's sad because on their side too, like, because this goes in hand, they're about silencing everyone, like the police, everyone that's that disagrees with them. Well, their leader, Luis Marquez, they've kicked him out too because he had some, he's helped us and he's spoke out what he believes, and they don't like him because they've kicked him out of their group. Because he expressed his views without
on the other side.
Yeah, they kicked him out. Yeah, and because he
Can't keep up.
yeah, he expressed his views, and and he didn't have a mask on, and they were so upset because he didn't have a mask on. So they've kicked him out. And he's supposed to be the leader. They kicked him out. They don't want anything to do with him, and it seems like he's talking to more of the right-leaning people now and kind of wanting to work together now to build, make the community better. And I agree with him. We should be, standing up for our community and defending it, and and everyone should have the right to free speech.
Absolutely.
So I agree with him.
Well, Haley, in all due respect, that's why I can appreciate you coming up here and sharing over 3 minutes, right? Having the opportunity to educate the public out there. We need to educate the public aspect of it, because it's the grown-ups that are supposed to be responsible enough to make sure that when there is an event, they will basically articulate the rationale for the event, when it's going to take place, and at the end of the day, it gives something to the community to do those kinds of things that you're talking about. It's bettering us across the board. And I might add, and I'm not trying to take over the deal, but the bottom line, I ran for mayor against Wheeler.
Really?
Yeah, when he ran that last time around, I finished number 4.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
And in fact, on that whole issue about this issue we're talking about right now, I had suggested that what they should be doing is that if a person is going to be doing a march or whatever, because it's the right aspect of it, they would go up, they would put the application in, okay, and then they would be asked to come before city council, like they would normally do, and then they would educate the public and i.e. because of the setting aspect of it, as to what's the purpose of the march, and why, that type of deal. And then at the end of that deal, then they would confer about it, and then they would vote on it. They would say, okay, fine, you've met these criterias, it's going to benefit the city, you got me? And then fine, you can have the march. And then the idea that's being announcing to the citizens across the board. You got me? And so and then it doesn't disturb anything, especially on those weekends, and maybe a location, because the bottom line is if it doesn't that way, then people can still enjoy the city. They can enjoy downtown with no problem. If they want to participate, they can participate. You see what I mean? Now that to me is organized. You got my point? And then by laying it out, then there's no issue about someone trying to disturb the situation. If it disturbs, you've broken the law, you get picked up. That's it. This is a very clear deal. But that's not happening. That's what I propose. But as you say, but it's okay. But the fact of it is, I did get the opportunity to express myself when I was running for office. And so I'm saying to you that you made mention of that when I was here last. You were thinking about the possibility of running for city council. I think you should do that. I mean, you got an organization, you got people that are very much involved in what you're doing, and regardless of what your opinion is, you have that right. And
it seems like, our group is doing really well, too, because, some of these people that, I have hope. I have a lot of hope for this humanity and our people, especially in Portland.
Definitely.
And, even the people that oppose us, some of them, like their leader, Luis Marquez, him reaching out to us now, and he's seeing he's seeing right and wrong now, and now he's wanting to work with conservatives. I don't know. I have a really good feeling we're gonna change
too. He sent us a message as well about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have a really good.
We want to invite him. We want to invite Luis.
Yes.
In fact, I'm a Marine recruiter. In fact, he might be a guy I might recruit there for me. You never know. I might put him in the Corps. That's what it's all about. But anyway, that's a little side note. But my point is that
you're a really good debater. You should. You should.
No problem, man. Look, Rich here. I mean, trust me, we've interviewed the best.
Yeah.
You know, and and in all due respect, he has the opportunity. If he wants to have his own show, he just come down and go through the process.
Yes.
But remember, he's got to make sure that whenever he starts representing himself, just himself, you got to remember there has to be a respect for all of us, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because I live here too.
And I think he will, because he's learning from his side that it's silencing others is not okay, and he's now he's learning it. So I'm pretty sure he'd want to come on here and show.
Yeah, got to be respectful. You know what I mean? We all live here together.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about. Okay, Rich, you want to ask a couple questions?
I wanted to hear a little bit more from you, what your thoughts are on.
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Alyssa. Okay, Alyssa. Hold on, listen.
Okay. Well,
What do you think?
where should I start?
No, just basically, what do you think? I mean, there was a women's movement, right? You got me? And you participated in that deal aspect of it. What's on your mind in terms of
what
you
appealed
feel?
to you about this?
The organization and whatever.
For me, this organization is really important because it's about giving a voice to those who feel like they haven't been heard in this recent political climate, the last couple of years. I've noticed that there has been a right-wing movement, right-wing women's movement as well, but what happens is that the left attacks that whenever they can and makes it about other things, versus the left women's movements, which have been more about... I don't even want to say this about being women, it's about being other identity politics, but for me, that's what's important about this is instead of the far left versus the loose right idea, I think that this group's important in that it gives a voice to everyone who feels like they haven't been heard. Especially women, though.
It'd be nice if things weren't so polarized.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
In other words, everybody has to be over on this side or that side.
Yeah, I wish everyone would just come together and be able to sit like this.
Yeah, why is there sides? I don't... Yeah, we should all be working together. If we all want to make the world a better place, we could all be working together.
That's right.
And we can, everyone can meet somewhere in the middle, and I noticed in Portland, we all want the mayor out of office. We want to recall him. If everyone worked together, we could have someone better in that chair right now, helping the city grow. And
that's your right now. I mean, you can either just sign on the dotted line and put the group up there, no problem. That's an opinion, and that's fair, and that's within our process. There's nothing wrong with that deal. I mean, it's nothing like running for office today, and then a lot of times folks will run for office and have never been there.
Yeah.
And then when they get there, all of a sudden it's not what they thought it was. And all of a sudden you don't have a real life in many ways.
I think it's happened to Wheeler personally.
Yeah. It's the leadership style.
Oh yeah.
My thing is that as a Marine Corps, I can remember when I was in Vietnam, and one point in time I was a club manager for a while. And the first person I would hit when they come through the door, because we were all carrying weapons, right? You got me? And the guy gets in there loudmouth, he's doing this, that, and the other. I'll just approach him right off the bat. Now I do one of two things. I either put an apron on him and let him work for me, or if not, then we have a little serious personal chat. But the bottom line is that it's the person.
Absolutely.
It's just the person aspect of it, because it's a tough job, but it's not one to just play around with just one side. You've got to represent all the people. You have to know exactly what that situation looks like. Very, very important. And then it shows. It just shows if in fact you are sided kind of a person aspect of it. It shows on you. And so consequently you're not respecting the opinion of the other individual. You got me? If the person is talking about it like yourself. I mean, at the church aspect of it, someone should clearly have identified themselves as running that meeting.
Yeah.
And the mayor should have been that person, in all due respect. He should have been the person that laid it all out to talk about something. Because what I thought it was about the fact that it was about the issue with the Joey situation. Yeah. Somebody should have articulated that.
It was evil. It was really sad, saddening to watch, sitting in there, because, I mean, we're in a church and you're hearing people cursing and
hissing.
Yeah, this sounds crazy, but they were literally
hissing
in there.
There was a group of them in the middle that were hissing at any right-wing person who went up there.
Well, you see, it shouldn't have even been at the church.
I agree.
It should have been at City Hall, because you're representing, the issue was talking about the city of Portland.
Yeah.
It wasn't Northeast Portland. And then, like I say, you put the church in, the black church, and then we raise up the old flag about racism.
Yeah.
You got me? And then we accomplished nothing in many ways.
Oh, don't forget the signs on our way over to the church, too, that were trying to incite people to attack us.
Oh yeah.
Really?
They're saying dangerous alt-right people are in the area. Be wary and defend yourself.
The church.
Around the church, all over the place.
Yeah,
they
and
were
they
they were
kept it
targeting
up.
us with them, but
So,
Well, in all due respect, Haley and Alyssa, we got to get these other folks together.
Yeah.
And you look like the organizer. You're the one. Are you thinking about really running? Are you going to
yes,
vote on a run? Are
I
you?
want to. Yeah.
Okay, good. For city council?
Yep.
I think it's a good idea.
I really want to
Definitely.
try. I want to. It's gonna be a crazy ride. I mean, but I want to definitely try, and
Okay.
I want the best for our city.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go on and take a short break. And I understand you brought some more folks with you.
Yes.
And I'm going to see if I can get some of the guys that were there maybe to come on and shoot the breeze with us a little bit, because I'm sure they were there to make sure that your safety was right?
Yeah.
That's basically what the deal is. But the other thing is that they're part of your organization,
Yes.
which was just good. Okay? That's kind of neat. That's really neat. I like that. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Sounds good. That be okay, guys? We'll take a short break? Okay, we got it. Okay, folks, we'll be right back.
You are watching Oregon Voters Digest. This program can be seen again on these channels on these dates and times. Tell a friend.
Is that right? Oh, man, look at this. Yes. Okay, look like we're back on. I take it we are back on. Hey, welcome again to Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Berhard. Got Richard here to my left, but you're right on the tube aspect of it. And so anyway, we've been just kind of co-hosting this thing to a certain degree.
Right.
Sometimes he talks a little bit more to me when he's on his own show.
Right.
At the live showcase. And then sometimes I do a little, but I got to lead the deal my way, so to speak. But anyway, it's all about communication, right?
Absolutely.
And our whole show and our whole emphasis is on informing and educating. That's what we do. We inform and educate, and so the bottom line is the betterment of our way of life. That's what it's all about. And there's no such thing as anybody's wrong. They just got to speak that opinion. But when they put that opinion on the table, then at the end of the day, we're kind of like saying, okay, fine, I've heard your side, you've heard my side. I think you got a stronger points than this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it's going to better us both.
Yes, sir.
And that's fair. And then if you want to go beyond that point, then you run for office.
That's right.
That's fair. See what I'm saying? You run
Absolutely.
for office, and we respect that. No problem. At the end of the day,
Okay.
whoever wins, right? Is that fair, Rich?
Yeah, and
Okay.
they need to tell us a little bit about it.
Well, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, you see, coming out good. I like that. Okay, so we got James right here. Okay, we got James and we got Landon. Okay, guys. So want to talk a little bit? Why don't we start off with? How about James? We can start off with you. You're on the end over here right now, and your relationship with Portland Liberation.
Haley brought me on board as the publicist, and
Okay.
that's been a challenging set of tasks, but so far so good, I think,
You
because
can handle it.
everybody's
That's good.
doing a good job with their stuff, and it's
Good.
really going places.
Good.
So
Good.
It's exciting to be a part of.
Oh, good. Now I understand that you were at the church the other day too, in that whole issue. And
Yes.
I thought that was a very interesting piece. And what's your feel?
My feel is that, I was the one who had to call 911 to get a police escort so we could make our way from the door exiting after having been kicked out to the car, because there was a literal angry, well-coordinated mob
Really?
waiting to interrupt our path from the door to the car. And it was a tense situation. I think the whole deal was a setup from the get-go.
Okay.
I mean, to have it, like you mentioned before the break, in that church, and to get everybody racially charged in the first place, and bring up the identity politics, I think just sort of set a trap. And I mean, we're guilty too of showing up, but we showed up to represent the side that was not spoken for, while they showed up in mass to just continue to sing their own self-praises.
Well, who called the meeting? Was that the mayor of the
Ted
city?
Wheeler, yes.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
did he stand up and just kind of lay out the land in terms of?
He kind of
what
fell back the whole
He
thing,
did?
and he just kind of sat there and watched the chaos ensue as he, I'm sure, wanted it to.
Now, he wanted a meeting at the church.
Yes.
Yeah, he's at the church. See, that's it.
Wow.
See, so there wasn't a clear person who was in charge of the piece. Got me?
The assistant to the pastor, I believe, got up and sort of introduced the evening, kind of in an MC type of a capacity.
But he
after
wasn't
that,
sitting
it
at.
was-
But he wasn't sitting at the diocese though.
No,
he was
no.
In, he was actually in the audience, so to speak, right?
Right.
So on the side.
He did ask
I know 'em both.
that everybody stay respectful and give each other their time. That, of course, never happened. But there was no refereeing of it either. They made no attempt to referee the event.
And then the other thing that I noticed was very clearly, I noticed that the police did not wear their uniform. The chief of police did not have a uniform on. The
Really?
assistant chief did not have his uniform. I'm talking about the people
That's
that died.
true.
And I think that would have made it a little bit more of an impact
Right.
from the people's, from the public standpoint. We didn't know what was going on.
I don't know. I know the chief, but not the assistant.
Assistant chief. And there was another.
He could be hiding there.
And I think one of the other principals was sitting up there with the mayor.
Yes.
They were all sitting up in there. That's why I said it should have been down at City Hall.
Yes.
It should have been at City Hall because everybody was interested trying to figure out what is going on.
Right.
And we got a problem here. And that was a heck of an opportunity. And then the ministers could have actually participated from that particular standpoint and
course,
share
yeah.
on their mind, share from their perspective in terms of what they felt. However, you know what I'm saying? But the leadership should have been down. It should have been at City Hall.
Right.
And i.e. the mayor running that deal just like anybody else.
Okay.
You get my point? Okay? How about yourself?
Well, my name is Landon. I'm one of the co-founders of Portland's Liberation, along with Haley and Alyssa. And basically, we speak for free speech, and we don't want anybody to be attacked for what they say, whether we agree with you or we don't. We don't care. You know, if we think you're wrong, we'll debate you. But we don't want to shut you down just because we believe something different than you.
Okay. So were you at the church?
No, that night I was actually at work, and it turns out just about every time it seems to get a little bit more hairy. I seem to be at work, and although I'd like to be there, some nights I just can't. And you know, I work the night shifts, and so if I had worked the days, I probably would have been there. But you know, sometimes I just can't make it.
Okay, so you felt that it should have been at City Hall.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's the city's problem, so to speak. You know, if the text between Joey Gibson and the lieutenant it should have been brought up at City Hall. It's an issue for the city. Why not bring it up at City Hall instead of a church?
And the rationale. I mean, because I knew a little bit more about it because I knew Joey, because I interviewed him way back when he first got involved, and I knew why he was getting involved. If he ever had any something in negative, I would have brought it out during that particular time. And so that's why I reached out, because they didn't know who he was. And so I thought we'd help him out. So that's what we did last week. And for those of you who missed the show last Sunday, you can Google it. It's on YouTube. And you can look at that interview and you'll understand who is Joy. just like we're doing this particular piece.
That's an excellent point. I think it's important to note, in defense of all these guys, that when you sit and you watch the rolling footage of these events and these incidents,
right,
and you take in the full context of what occurred, it's pretty clear who's in the right and who's in the wrong. They, the other side, Antifa, rely on this chopped footage and Photoshop jobs and piecing together maybe 2 to 5 seconds of something so they can confuse a gesture into suddenly being a Nazi salute or whatever, and then people see that, and that's the headline that goes out. It's very unfortunate for them.
Yeah, they just rely on these sound bites, and they just try and get that couple of seconds and then put that out there. And you say one thing and they cut it up, and instead of getting the full context or the full sentence of what you said, they just try to say, look, he's a racist, he's done this, he's done this. And when it's not true, what they do is they just cut up that little bit, and they just try and spread you as a racist, and they don't give you the full time to speak. They don't let you say what you're wanting to say, and they paint you as a racist or what have you. So
well, that's the neat thing about this particular situation with Haley. I mean, it's Portland Liberation Group, if you will, and if they're going to be leading a march or whatever, or wanting to make a statement to the city as a whole, that's why I made that point about the application process.
Right.
You go in and you file, and then after and if you meet the criteria for filing, then the mayor, i.e., then will say, okay, fine, we will now have the presentation at City Hall, TV, and all that other good stuff, bring the media there and whatever, to let the public know they're being interviewed. So then after they get through interviewing, they will open the questionnaire, if you will. Folks can come in and comment about whether they feel that it should be or it shouldn't be, but it's the mayor's responsibility to make sure in that application process, this is the purpose and this is how it's going to better our way of life here in the city of Portland. Now once that's done and said this is it, we approve this piece, it's going to happen at such and such a time, this is where it's going to be, letting the public know that some folks don't like the idea of that, because our weekends, you want to enjoy your weekends and this, that, and the other.
Do you think if you get a permit that brings out both sides more?
Well, it gives everybody opportunity because there might be citizens who may say after they've made their presentation, well, let me say this is why I don't want you to do this. We don't want you to do it. We got my kids, and I don't think, depending upon this, that, and the other. But then at the end of the day, the mayorship, those elected officials, really represent us. They represent the people.
Right.
Okay.
They're the employees. We're the employers, but we've elected them. And then they're supposed to be the one to be, because they've got the background and whatever, to be able to make those decisions, looking out for the welfare of the entire city.
Right.
That's their deal.
And you would think that it would work that way, but it seems more often than not that it doesn't. Like we've seen with some of these big marches, especially a lot of the anti-Trump rallies, and I believe it was after the election there was a bunch of riots and people had their cars broken into, or they had some rocks thrown through their business windows, and again, Wheeler just says for the police to stand down and not to get in the way or to intervene. And it's unfortunate. And, when we have our rallies, when we set up a date or a time, and then Antifa will come, and sometimes there are some clashes, and usually we're trying to keep the peace, but it just doesn't always work out that way. And, I've been there where we've battled it out, and, we're kind of fighting as I'm trying to tell some people, like, let's not get involved in violence, and the SWAT team is just standing right there. They don't try and break us up. They don't do anything. They just sit there and watch. I mean, if they didn't have that stand down order, they could intervene and arrest the people who need to be arrested and keep the sides at peace.
Well, that's the other thing too. I might make a point to the audience too. You got to remember, the police is not the police. They are law enforcement officers.
Right.
They get their orders.
Yeah, that's right.
They get their orders from the people through the mayor to the elected officials. They're supposed to dot the I's and cross the T's and says, okay, fine, this is how we're going to respond to your concern. And then once that's done, the mayor and the elected officials get together and put together a sort of a training packet that goes with it, because the police is sitting at that table. And when they come back and tell the public, okay, fine, we are going to do this, and then this is how we're going to do it, this is where we're going to do it aspect of it, and this is the law enforcement policy. They know exactly what they have to do. Now the public knows. but that's not organized that way.
Right.
And again, that's why I'm not trying to knock particularly the mayor. He is an employee too. A lot of that responsibility goes to us because we employed her as a citizen.
An employee who's appointed himself
That's right.
a heck of a
That's
lot of
right.
power.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, we don't. In all due respect, we haven't. We don't. There's no one to translate that a lot in different areas. It depends upon the person who's running for office. See, some folks they'll buy the situation. Some folks we got real leadership aspect of it. We're having some very transitional kind of town. And then I'll be right up front with you. President Trump has put a lot of pressure on folks because he comes from New York.
Right.
You know, the guy's a developer. I know what I was a developer. I built some stuff, and you're dealing with a lot of folks. And you know, you're dealing, and this guy, you know, he New York is like another country in itself.
Yes.
I mean, seriously. And so here we are on that particular farm. He's going to be a hard person to follow. Hard person to follow. We need him right now. We need that kind of a situation.
Absolutely.
See, you might not like it, but then all of a sudden you got that other media. They're in New York too. Between CNN and Fox, you know, they've created this situation. And to get in a situation where you get into a person's personal life and this, that, and the other, that's a no-no. That should have been known. They knew ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are having fun after they get through doing this media stuff and having drinks after hours. Is that type of deal? But we got some serious times right now. We're looking for good leadership. And I'm just saying, so when you try to put New York and Portland, Oregon, it don't work.
Right.
And Wheeler can't relate. Now, he might be a really stand-up kind of a guy. In fact, I even tried to do that when I ran for office. I got a little bit more time out there than he does. But my point is that, but when you you got to reach out. If you end up, if you will, winning, as far as I was concerned, we should have had a general election. There was about 15 people who ran.
Mm-hmm.
Had we had that general election, he would have been able to be. He was on the job training, so to speak. He would have gotten a little bit more feel because every representation of feelings were running for office.
Yes.
So in that general election, he would have gotten a little bit more, and they would have televised it more, gave the people the opportunity to respond and whatever. That would have helped whoever won.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever won. Because once you can run for office, but you just get that front piece. When you win, then the door opens. Then all of a sudden you find out all this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the politics, and this, that, and the other. And if you don't have that background, you got a problem. You trying to figure it out.
He knows more about running for office.
See,
He really does.
you know, but again, I live here, and I do know the difference between an employer and an employee. I'm an employer if I'm the public. If you ran for office and you win for office, you are an employee.
Exactly.
And a lot of folks don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And then you demand that respect, you know, but a lot of times we just got to understand what that process. That's why we're doing the show.
Right.
And that's what we're doing on community television. Unfortunately, the media, if you will, they got 3 minutes too. They have no idea what's going on. They're there with the deal. They got a 30-minute lag, right? They got about 8 things to deal. So they do a 2 or 3 minute communication, and they don't have the background.
Actually, a lot of the media here in Portland, especially the mainstream media, CBS affiliates, have had a gagging order on them. On most of these issues. To paint Antifa in a unfavorable light, to paint Haley Adams in a favorable light. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I mean, where's that coming from? Mm-hmm. I think is a better question to ask rather than what is wrong with the media in general. There's going to be things wrong with the media all day, forever, probably, but it's been taken to a dark place here, I've noticed, because I work with issues in Los Angeles.
Okay, right.
This is a mess.
Yeah.
It's worse than Berkeley.
Yeah.
If it wasn't fascist on the end, wouldn't they have a little less trouble? Or
they have to have a boogeyman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have to, and they've made Haley and the group that boogeyman right now. I mean, what would they do tomorrow if everybody took a vacation to Hawaii for a month? What would they do?
But you know what? You know where the boogeyman is? They created him.
Yes.
New York. His name was Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he was a well-liked guy.
Yeah. Before he ran for office, everybody liked him.
Look,
they went to his parties.
in fact, when he first ran for office, the man was identifying with everybody.
Yep.
Blacks, everything. He just jumped right on the issue aspect of it. But the idea is that's that divide. Like I said, you know, when you get into this business, so to speak, is them against that, right?
Yes.
Okay, and they got to sell ads, and you know, positive things don't create ads.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So then you've got CNN on one end, and I'm using it because that's what it is. But in New York,
Right.
and you had Fox. And, you know, and in Portland, we may have, who am I thinking about? I'm thinking about our own spokesperson here, who's kind of identifies with the R sides. The talk show host.
Okay.
Local, come on.
Here in Portland?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't even know if we have a local
Oh,
talk
gee
show.
whiz, boy. Nothing like getting younger, you know.
We used to have a lot of talk
Lars
show
Larson.
hosts.
Lars Larson.
Lars,
And
yes.
Lars is a very articulate guy. He's got
Oh.
good background aspect of it. But again, too, he's kind of like forcing the deal, but he's trying to explain, you know what I mean, on both sides. But again, the media, media, all of us for that matter, we didn't have the
Clyde
ad
Lewis
money.
has been trying to promote it locally too.
Right.
Same station, KXL.
Right, but you see, but Lars is the deal. You know, so the name of the game is that now all of a sudden with that creation in New York about Trump, then it was Trump, and then from that point on, if you had something to say, if you started out with Trump, you can forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't do it that way and just started talking, you'd get about maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
Isn't it the symptom of a larger problem when we're in a place in our nation right now where people want to see the president fail? They want this. They want to see the Trump administration implode
Yeah.
and melt down, not understanding the implications that go along with that for the country in the process.
And a lot of them talk about impeaching Trump, but I see a lot on social media and the news how they hate Mike Pence even more. So I mean, I don't know if they think that they're going to get Nancy in office, but you know, the line of succession goes Pence, and they're going to really hate that.
What is it?
Pence is a problem.
Yeah, but still, think about it. It was almost like that Korean deal when he basically got this dude to sit down there and talk about nukes. Mm-hmm. This guy can just push the finger. I mean, that's what we are today. You just push that button and something happens. And the people who basically said, okay, fine, put Trump in the front of the piece, let's try to disrupt that. He's negotiating. You leave that alone. Let him get the deal.
Yes, 2 years in, and he's already negotiating with
Yes.
North Korea, and I believe they just came on their second talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. See, and the name of the game is that we're the largest producers and suppliers of parts and weapons in the world.
Right.
Jobs. Hate to put it that way, but there's some things but the public as a whole don't see that part. All they said, well, look, Trump is bad, and then that was it. It could have been saying, well, look here, we're gonna be giving out free buildings or anything of that nature. But the moment you put Trump in there, it's forgotten. Mm-hmm. And then we got a problem, and that's why we're doing the show.
Okay.
That's why we're doing the show right now, and that's why I was taken by the fact that Haley was there when I saw her just walking up in the photo shot, walking up right in the front of the in the podium aspect of it. I say, wow, something's wrong here. Naturally, I know all the characters to a certain degree, but then I noticed the fact that the mayor didn't have a suit and tie on, and the police chief didn't have her uniform on. Or the rest of them. Why
it
not?
wasn't a town hall. It was a theatrical presentation.
Yes. That
And
was
I
the
think
matter.
they were looking for something to happen. I think they knew if they were to host this, we would come along and speak our piece, and if they know that we're coming, Antifa's going to show up, and they know there's going to be some kind of
The
battle.
paint will peel.
But look at the impact it would have on all of us. None of us will win. Mm-hmm. None of us will win.
Perhaps that's their end game.
Yeah.
right.
And then, in all due respect, everybody's carrying weapons. I'm just saying, bottom line. I'm talking about people that don't even know which end to hold.
Right.
And that's another sad situation. I mean, we got a lot of senior citizen aspect of it. You get into that age, you have a lot of stress routine, and that's why you hear about all these different kinds of things that are happening within our society. But I still say at the end of the day, we still got the best country in the world.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get over this.
And speaking of carrying weapons, I believe one of the proposals at the church was to have the police not carry guns anymore. And
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And
That's
so what do you
ridiculous.
think is going to happen when they get a call of an armed robber, or if, there's a dangerous man, or a school shooter? What are they going to do then? I mean, it's an absolutely ridiculous solution, and that's something that he said he's taking seriously.
Well, see, the same person who made that statement, let's say the news aspect
Right.
of it, or whoever made that statement, and if the news basically carried that on, then you should have asked, well, wait a minute, everybody's got a weapon. Everybody's got weapons. Mm-hmm. You don't have to even go to the store anymore to get a weapon. You can get out the trunk of a car.
Yep.
You can get them out in a theft. I mean, you can get anything. So that's a serious situation. It's really sad that a person has to go out nowadays and get a weapon.
I think it's important to note here that what the left is saying right now, Antifa in particular, Rose City Antifa, is that they are entitled to have their weapons, but that people with right leanings in politics should not. That they're not fit to carry or what have you.
And it's kind of the same deal with free speech. They want to be able to say whatever they want without getting violent or getting attacked, but we can't say what we want without getting violent or getting attacked.
That's correct.
And that's why we have the Second Amendment, to protect the First. And on all aspects, whether you're a communist or you're a capitalist or what have you, we don't care what you believe in as long as we all get a chance to speak.
We got about 3 minutes left, and I guess I want to make sure we start talking about solutions.
Yeah.
Sure.
At some point in time, that's why we're having the show the way we're doing it.
And
right
go
now.
over what they
go over there real quick like
they're
that.
after.
Because the bottom line is, I hear you loud and clear, and we're saying to the Antifa out there, hey, come on to the table. Maybe we're missing something.
Yeah,
Maybe
we'd
missing something.
love to debate somebody.
Yeah, but I want them to say what they want to say on that deal. Why are you doing it this way, as opposed to this way?
Right.
Why not run for office? You can get your leadership in that arena. Run for office. If you get the score 1-0, there you are. You're sitting up there as the mayor and this, that, and that. But you got to understand, the public is still the employer. That's a very important piece, and we don't understand that. Got me? And it's for all of us. It's for the good of all. We can't afford this idea, this divide between folks. I mean, it's kind of really interesting nowadays. We got to a point in life, this country has educated the whole world. And I just saw a deal the other day about the HR or something was setting aside $350 million to house the youth, the immigrants, or whatever. And look at all the folks we have on the street and homelessness. We got kids on the streets.
That's right.
Homelessness.
We got
Camps,
kids. We got Americans. We got
kids,
folks on the street right now. Women, the whole 9 yards. See, it's a sad note. But people are running on this other deal. The only reason why they're running that way is because all they use is the word Trump.
And it'll get them elected if they say, well, we're going to house the immigrants, we're going to get these illegals in here, and we're going to be a sanctuary city. That's what's going to get them the votes. They don't care about the homeless population here.
Yeah.
All they want are those votes.
Well, you're right there. Well, guys, this has been great. What do you think?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You enjoyed this deal?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. Now here it goes. We're offering offering the invite to Antifa. Hey, please give us a call. I'm at 503-701-0457. And when you call, I'm just saying, you want to come on, just give me a call, and we'll make arrangements, because this is a very, very important piece. We're communicating for a minute. And you got more than 3 minutes. You don't have to go downtown to City Hall and beat the traffic. You can come right up here. Richard is right there. We got 2 shows, right?
That's right.
We got another show that we can come on, and we'll do the same thing. I'm not trying to lead anything. I'm just saying.
Would you allow them to wear their masks on?
Well, let's see, man. Well, no, they can't do that. They can't. No.
They tend to go with
paper bag?
no face,
No,
no case.
No, I mean, hey, look at me. I got one on. I'm a former Marine.
Right. And if they come here, they're not going to get violent. They're not going to get attacked. And what they say is that we're violent. And so if we were sitting here talking and debating, nobody's going to get
Nothing will
violent.
happen.
Yeah, nothing's
going to happen to them.
Yeah, nothing happen. So please, guys, please come, okay? Guys, it's been great. Fantastic. And hope to have you guys on again, okay?
Absolutely.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that very much. Okay, good. Okay,
And
good.
thank the crew. Thank you. Right.
Okay, folks, you've been listening to us, Oregon Voters Digest. Tune in. In fact, check out the archives on Oregon Voters Digest, and you can catch the Joey Gibson's piece, and we interviewed him there also, too. And that way you can match him up, and Tifa, check him out, too. Check out the shows, okay? And give me a call. Give me a call. I want you on next week, if you'd like. Give me a call. Bruce Broussard, Oregon Voters Digest, and Richard Carpenter. Here we are, ready to go. Take care. Have a good one. Enjoy that Sunday day.